What is up, guys? Samuel here with Eagle Investors, covering how to develop market awareness. Market awareness refers to our ability to assess the entire stock and options marketplace, generating insights into opportunities as well as areas to be cautious. Having a strong market awareness will allow for better decision-making while minimizing foreseeable risks. Market awareness can be broken down into three parts: sector awareness, fear awareness, and liquidity awareness. From the highest level, we want to have a good understanding of sector awareness, paying attention to futures and where they're at from an overall market perspective. We generally pay attention to ES, the S&P 500 futures, NQ, the NASDAQ, and YM, the Dow Jones, for our equity overview. They have a high positive correlation, meaning they generally move in the same direction. And on the commodity side, paying attention to commodities such as oil, gold, silver, also noting bonds and soft agricultural commodities can prove beneficial, as well as where interest rates are trading and currencies. It is also critical to identify secular trends between sectors and large-scale rotations, such as the rotation from growth to value we have been witnessing materialize the past few months. Now, looking here, just a few things to note in terms of how to identify some of these correlations and trends and pair trading opportunities as well. One thing to pay attention to is the yield curve in general. And we've noticed if we match up the 2-year treasury notes and short the 10-year, we create a bear steepener position, and how this position has gone up from January, peaking around the beginning of April. And this is because the yield curve has been steepening at that point, with yields pushing to the 10-year yields pushing to the 1.75 level, and have since been settling down from there. Now, another thing to note is certain currency pairs, such as gold and silver. Gold and silver historically are extremely correlated. And if there's a divergence between correlated pairs, there's typically a pairs trading opportunity. Right now, the gold to silver ratio sits at about 67, meaning silver is relatively undervalued compared to gold at these current levels. So you could take a bullish or bearish position on gold or silver, it wouldn't matter. If you take this pairs trading opportunity, it would basically capitalize on a relative outperformance in silver. Another thing to note on this side is looking at different future contracts, sure, but also different sectors, going through base materials on a daily basis. And then we see communication services, consumer defense, consumer discretionary, energy, financial services, healthcare, industrials, real estate, technology, and so on, utilities. What we see here is looking at what different sectors are moving in the market. Now, I mentioned that the NASDAQ, the Dow, and the S&P 500 are highly correlated, but some days you might see the Dow up on the day and the NASDAQ down 2%. Now, this is less common, but there's reasons behind it, and understanding that is critical. Now, I often watch these relationships, and you can do so by making watch lists as well as paying attention to these different areas to expand your understanding. After sector awareness, it is important to be aware of fear in the markets, as the markets are driven by human emotion in the short term. Or as Ben Graham described, in the short run, the market is like a voting machine, but in the long run, the market is like a weighing machine. Once we have a grasp on the overall sectors and their activity, we dive a little further into the sentiment of the market. We use /VX, the future, and the VIX, the cash index, as our fear gauges. Both of these instruments measure the implied volatility of the S&P 500. This is critical to watch in options trading, as IV is a large input in an options premium, and volatility is naturally mean reverting. When implied volatility is high, that means option prices are on the higher end of the spectrum. When implied volatility is low, that means option prices are on the lower end of the spectrum. We like selling premium when IV is high, such as before earnings events or when there is an abnormal amount of fear in the markets, and buying premium when IV is low. Perhaps an underlying or index has consolidated and has not moved much, but may be underestimating the expected move ahead. Keeping an eye on VX and VIX prevents us from buying premium in high IV environments and selling in low IV environments. The third layer of market awareness has to do with the participants in the market. This is also known as liquidity. Understanding the level of market activity is important because low activity levels are suboptimal. We can gauge overall liquidity watching the number of shares and contracts traded in SPY or ES futures. Low volume in the stock and option market can create situations that are less than ideal, with wider bid-ask spreads and the inability to get in and out of trades quickly. We can also see heightened volatility in a low liquidity environment with a lack of resistance from the opposing side. We look for high open interest and volume for individual underlyings, specifically when trading leveraged products such as options and futures. And to summarize, having an overall understanding of the market is a great first step to developing a portfolio and making sound trading decisions. With many areas to watch in the markets, it is critical to take a step back to view the moving parts and breaking down where opportunity and risk may lie. Create a watch list with relevant pieces of information from futures to sectors to be comparing and gauging. Watch market sentiment and identify the implied volatility landscape so you know when to sell volatility when it's high and when to go long volatility when it's low. And be aware of issues from low liquidity markets, contracts, and underlyings. Thank you very much, and I hope you enjoyed this video on developing market awareness. If you liked this video, make sure to smash the like button below, subscribe if you're new to the channel, and comment your thoughts. Lastly, join our Discord with the link in the description below.